You've selected a show from the Podcast Jukebox, a DIY podcast network.
It's Will Shawn Podcast. The internet cried out for 2 more blowhards, and they courageously answered that call. Armed with the weapon of wit, each week they're joined by guests to discuss movies, television, pop culture, and anything else that's pissing them off. Take it away, boys.
I'm Will Link.
And I'm Sean David.
And this is Will Shawn Podcast?
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. How you doing, Will?
So I made an appointment today with the eye doctor.
Okay.
I haven't been to the eye doctor in 2 years.
All right.
I'm supposed to go every year. I skipped last year. You know why? Didn't have insurance. Now I got insurance.
That's it. What do you say?
I haven't gone yet.
Oh.
I'm worried because I have a tendency to punch eye doctors.
Oh, because when they do the test, when they blow the...
When they come at me in my eyes, I start throwing elbows. I can't control it.
We should get you in one of those chairs that they have the restraints.
Yeah, but then I'd still be like they'd have to really like Clockwork Orange me up, and that's not gonna happen.
Okay.
So,
Did your new eye insurance cover LASIK?
I don't want LASIK.
Why? You can still wear glasses, ironically.
I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
Well, 1, I think I look better in glasses than without glasses.
Okay.
2, that's a lot coming. That's lasers coming out my eye. Then they have to do the Clockwork Orange thing.
Yeah, but it's just like... It's not like a laser beam.
I've
watched
somebody get LASIK. I was there. I was watching the whole time. But they still have to pry his eyeballs open with a Clockwork Orange
Maybe they could do it while you're asleep. Like that dentist that advertises off the Van Nuys exit of the 101, the Twilight Dentistry.
Could they knock me out and do eye shit to me?
No, because then how are you going to do number 1, number 2, and number 3?
Well, I could do that. I'm talking about like major eye surgery.
So you would rather go under full anesthesia to avoid having a little puff of air blown in your eye?
My only thing is that I worry that in the middle of it, I would wake up.
Yeah.
Like the anesthesia wouldn't take.
It takes
and
6
it'd be
seconds.
Horrific.
I don't know, Will. Okay. You don't deserve to have eyeballs.
So what's going on in the World of Will Shawn podcast?
Well, we want to remind everyone that, as you could very well tell by the new scary bumper at the front of our show, we are part of Podcast Jukebox.
Podcast Jukebox.
Yes, a podcast network for independent podcasts of independent stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep saying I got to reach out to some of these other shows.
Yeah.
And
haven't done it yet?
Haven't done it yet, but we're taking a little bit of a hiatus after this episode, so I figure over those weeks, so...
You'll catch up on some of our brother and sister podcasts.
Exactly.
So we want to thank all the folks over there at Off the Cuffs for helping us with this. We apologize if there was any problems downloading last week's episode. It was quickly rectified, and those responsible were swiftly punished.
There was something about a former guest you wanted to tell us.
I just wanted also to congratulate former guest Chris Bargach, who was the co-writer and producer of Tangerine, has a new movie out that premiered this week at Sundance with... Cannes, sorry.
Bigger than Sundance,
Cannes. That premiered at Cannes Film Festival, directed by his partner Sean Baker, and it's called The Florida Project, and it's getting rave reviews, and hopefully it will get distribution, and we will be able to see it soon. So congratulations to him. We're very proud.
We're going to have to get him back on.
Yeah,
and you know what? I think he'll come back on.
Get that Will Shawn podcast bump.
I think he will come back on because he's a good guy.
He's a good guy. He's a good man.
Unlike some other people, they get big and they never come back.
Nah.
And who's our sponsor this week?
The 6th week of the Omer, because you know that you're the only one left. You have no idea what that is.
I don't know what that is.
There are 2 people right now cracking up in their cars.
Is this a Jewish thing?
Yes, I'm glad you said Jewish and not Jew thing.
I know how to speak to you people. On the show today,
to Jew people,
the funniest man on television is being sued
Sean Hannity?
Because he's so funny. We will discuss. Men are wearing rompers.
Sean Hannity?
We will discuss. And they held the upfronts, and we found out what shows that we watch are getting canceled and which aren't getting canceled. Spoiler alert, nothing I watch is getting canceled. And I've got a bone to pick about it, which we'll get to. But first, we are very excited to have with us today Becca Burgess.
Hi.
Hello, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you also for coming in. I know it was a little last minute. You answered. We put out the call, and you answered, and we appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
So, Becca, before we get into what you do, and I know you're involved in casting, which I don't know if we've had casting people on before.
I think we've had one a while ago.
Yeah, but
I can't remember if she was a guest or not, or just someone I know, so I don't want to say the name.
Becca's better than them. The point is,
True.
we always like to get the guest origin story first.
Okay.
So where are you from originally?
So I'm originally from Athens, Georgia. Oh, go Dogs. So the background of my career, though, is I originally worked on the agency side for a few years on the East Coast before moving to Los Angeles to pursue casting.
So because of the film industry that sort of sprung up in it, did you work in Atlanta then?
I did, yeah. But with casting, like it's over in the Southeast, it's still mostly co-star roles. It's slowly starting to see a bump in those guest stars, leads, recurring.
Okay.
But I wanted to do something a little bit meatier than that, so that's why I moved here to LA.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a decision to kind of go. I didn't want to cast Doctor Number 2
Right.
my whole life.
Is it the same?
You want a Doctor Number 1 or nothing?
Yeah, Doctor Number 1 or it's no game for me.
Is it the same way with all the other film? Like, eventually you always have to go to LA, even in because you think of it in terms of actors got to go to Los Angeles, screenwriters got to go to Los Angeles, everybody's got to go to Los Angeles, and sometimes I think you forget about people who are working in other roles like casting, but is it the same way? Eventually you all have to move to Los Angeles?
There's a good amount of casting people in the Southeast that are making great livings there. But it's a different type of casting just because it's location casting and it's very different. The whole industry over there is run a lot differently than it is in Los Angeles.
By Marvel and Tyler Perry.
Yeah, exactly.
They got to cast all those office buildings full of screaming people for the finales of an Avenger film.
Or they got to cast a bunch of zombies for The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's funny because it does seem like Georgia has become I have a friend who just shot a pilot in Georgia. It seems like it's become a real hotbed for that. Is most of though, like you said, it's a lot of local casting. So
right.
Basically, is the offices in Los Angeles still casting the leads?
Yeah, so,
and then you gotta go find where are you finding the people there? I mean, are they just...
so then you would hire location casting. So the production would have the Los Angeles casting directors, and they would hire your leads, your big guest stars, whatever, your series regulars, and then they would also hire location casting to find those co-star roles because they're going to be local hires. They're not going to be flown from Los Angeles.
Right.
Yeah, it's too expensive.
That's got to be tricky though, I'd imagine, because once again we're saying all the people who really want to be in film, they come out here or TV.
But there's lots of people in
local 132's production of Guys and Dolls like that. Are you getting people from local theater, stuff like that?
Yeah, but I mean there's good people out there, and there's also people that are maybe from there or just want to move there to build up their resume. It's less saturated there, so it's easier for you to get auditions, it's easier for you to book, it's easier for you to get representation.
So do you find that a lot of actors actually
are going at it backwards?
Yeah,
I know a lot that started out in Los Angeles and just weren't hitting it here, and so they're like, okay, well, let me go to Atlanta for a bit. And then I also know a lot of actors that are based in Los Angeles that will work as a local hire to Atlanta. So that for them just involves they have to pay for their flight out there and they have to pay for their accommodations, but it's a credit. And if they're willing to bite the bullet monetarily speaking, then it's a good resume boost
and again,
for
builds them up. They're trying to get into the union stuff, or
or
just build out their IMDb.
Georgia is a right to work state,
okay.
So you don't have to be in the union to do union work there.
Okay.
If you're based in California, that's a different story.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We have strong unions here.
Yes, it's mandatory, basically.
I am not an actor.
Okay.
Neither.
Fine.
You play one on television.
Yes. Neither is Sean.
What?
So we've never had to go through the audition process and stuff
the
like that.
The cattle call.
Yeah,
right.
We've never had to go through something like that. Could you walk us through, I know every project's different. You're looking for different things in each role. But can you walk us through, I'm an actor and I'm going in for audition, what should I be doing? What are you looking for? Are there general things that you're always looking for?
No, I mean, it really depends on the role. There's a lot of times where what's written on paper in the breakdown, which is sort of like the character description that's released to all the agents and managers, someone will come in and bring a different spin to it that we like, and it's good. And so we'll show that option to the producers. So it's not necessarily there's not necessarily a formula.
Do people come in, are people trying crazy things? Are people coming
ridiculous stories.
Now, does that work in their favor or not?
No,
okay.
They look like
so
crazy
the envelope's
people.
full of glitter from Arrested Development. Not a good.
Yeah,
approach.
no. So I worked on a pilot this past season that was about sort of the space industry.
Okay.
This girl showed up
Hidden Figures the show.
No. She showed up in a full on galaxy unitard. And that was not Megan. But that sounds like something Megan would do. No. She would not do that. But that's not
so you want to stand out, but you don't want to stand out crazy.
Yeah, that's not really dressing the part. If you work in a space station, you don't wear a space unitard.
Did they just not understand? Did they think they were
I think they were trying to stand out, and it just flopped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how do you do? I've always wondered about this. When there's something that's so high profile, for example, when they're looking for someone for Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and they're trying to find, who eventually became Daisy Ridley. How do you even start that process when it's so secretive and there can't be any character descriptions and everything is so tightly under wraps?
Yeah, so for the breakdowns, you would probably release it under a working title and change the character names. But for people auditioning, either you would create dummy sides,
right. But do they even know what they're auditioning for?
Sometimes no. When I worked on the agency side, you could usually kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
We know this is going to be coming here. This sort of sounds like it.
Right.
And then we would, proceed accordingly.
Right.
But also, they make you sign non-disclosures. Marvel will make you sign a non-disclosure.
But everyone who goes in, even to audition?
Oh, yeah. Even to, I've had to sign non-disclosures before just to obtain the sides to then give out to the clients who are auditioning. Wow. Yeah, it's a whole process.
Interesting.
Yeah. I know there's been actors who have been, cast in a job and then fired because they uploaded, an audition tape to Vimeo and didn't password protect it.
Yeah.
So it got out, and the fans were freaking out.
Well, that's how SNL has all those lost Star Wars auditions.
I don't know about this.
It's a running sketch on SNL.
Sketch.
Oh, yeah. I'm not. Yeah, I don't really watch SNL religiously.
Because you're not casting for them, so no need to.
This is true.
There you go. So I was looking over some of the credits and some of the things you did work on.
My IMDb is so outdated.
Oh no!
That's
so is
okay.
there newer stuff that?
I just haven't done I haven't updated my episodes or my pilots. But you get the gist.
Well, we saw Sundance Darling, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl was on.
Yeah, that was my first Los Angeles job, actually.
Had to find the dying girl.
No, I came in and had to find Earl.
Oh.
Yeah, Earl had to be recast because the original guy they got a pilot and then he was not available.
Earl was too good for a Sundance film.
Yeah.
That's a much smaller project, and we were just talking about things like Marvel and stuff like that. So, do you find, depending on the size of the project, you have more or less maybe influence in the whole process, or how
me personally?
Yeah, in the casting department.
If it's a smaller project.
Yeah.
If it's a smaller project, you probably have less producers that want to have a say, and in that particular case, there's not a studio and a network that have to also approve your choices.
Yeah.
So in that regard, yes, but in terms of my personal experience, my bosses always ask my feedback, and so I'm not left in the dark.
Well, let me ask you that. You said the studio network. So some of your other credits have been TV shows. You've done episodes of
Last Man Standing, for example, or Undateable.
Okay, so if you cast someone, let's say you just need someone to play the boyfriend for an episode, the girlfriend, so she'll have a couple scenes, whatever. Is that something that casting, you work with the showrunners, you work with the producers, for someone that's in a smaller role like that, do you also need studio and network approval for all?
Yeah, it depends on the project. Some projects will just be no, it's fine, just go ahead and get, network approval, or it depends on the project. But typically the process is we'll audition a bunch of people, we'll narrow it down to 5-ish. We'll show tapes to producers because usually they're not going to come in and watch you're not going to call back a 5-line role.
Right.
Those producers narrow it down to like one pick, and then we go and get studio approval and then network approval.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's a few people there's some hoops. that
Even
has
for
to
every
jump through.
little
Yeah.
every little speaking part needs to get.
For the shows that I've worked on, yes, every single role has had to be approved.
Wow.
Now, one time that did jump out, and I just said it was undateable, and the reason it jumped out to me was because I know in the last season of that show, it was live.
Yeah.
So, did that present a new kind of casting challenge? Because, I mean, you had to get somebody who...
A little bit, yeah.
Because live acting's
It's
gonna
different.
Be,
Yeah. We had to kind of put a note when we were scheduling people to come in and audition, like, you have to be comfortable with doing this live. Because there's no, like, if you mess up, there's no take-backs. You can't cut. So, in terms of, like, the audition process, that all stayed the same. But we had to find people that were comfortable with that. And that show in particular had a lot of improv. Those guys were all stand-up comedians, so they kind of let them run loose with dialogue. And so having someone that had like an improv background was a little bit of a plus that could kind of work within those limits. Because those guys will totally like shoot the shit with people.
Yeah.
In the middle of this live show.
Yeah, I heard. I mean, admittedly, I never watched the show, but I heard that I've seen.
That's fine.
Okay, sorry, but I heard.
Get out.
Yeah.
They.
I'm going to leave now.
That they would kind of really like fuck around.
Yeah.
On that and like try to throw each other off. Even,
Yeah,
and
no,
stuff
that
like
was definitely a joke. And there was this at one point, like one of our marketing was like we had a legitimate cell phone, and they would give the number out in the middle of the episode, and people would call in. So you never kind of knew when they were going to answer the phone and like talk to a fan.
That's kind of
in
fun.
the middle. Yeah, and it was really cool. So yeah, but I mean, like people would kiss each other when it wasn't in the script, and like take their shirts off. Like it was this whole thing. Like who can get the other character to break?
That's interesting, and I bet you see another show try something like that.
The Americans'
like,
final
from this-
season.
Can you imagine? Yes, I'd be so excited for that.
With the leftovers, final episode is going to be live.
It's gonna be live,
coast to coast.
Nobody, no unscripted.
Improv, yeah.
Don't be shocked if the last Twin Peaks episode is also live.
You know, that would actually not shock.
It's just Isabella Rossellini and Kyle MacLachlan in a room for an hour.
Rossellini probably won't be showing up. If I don't think her and Lynch are they on bad terms?
I don't know what's going on with them.
I don't know. He broke her heart.
He breaks a lot of women's hearts.
David Lynch. I'm breaking hearts. Like, anyway, I don't know. Now I'm doing a bad David Lynch
No, it's good.
impersonation.
Continue. Yeah, lean into it.
David Lynch here. Anyway, with sitcoms and comedies and stuff like that, you get a lot of comedians.
Do you?
And a lot of, but that's the thing. Like
but not
comedians are not
always.
necessarily actors,
Exactly.
and I wonder if, this all just comes from watching Seinfeld. But back in the day, it seemed like it was just like comedy clubs were filled with casting people, just like we're gonna get this guy a show. Like he's funny. Like is that a thing? Like do you go to a lot of things like looking for people or?
I go to a lot just because it makes sense for my job, but I'm not necessarily looking for people.
Have you ever been at something and you saw someone, you're like, this guy or this gal, she's
Like a La La
so
Land type of
good.
situation?
But like, I gotta figure if I could get them into something.
Not a La La Land situation, but I've definitely seen people and been
You
like,
didn't
oh,
give
they're good. Like, let me kind of take a mental note of who they are and their name.
Okay. You didn't give someone a lead role in a movie that shoots
No,
in
but
Paris?
it's also not my choice. Don't forget, we have to get studio and network approval.
I mean, to be fair, her name was Emma Stone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So it's not a lot of Lana Turner at the soda fountains.
So Becca.
No, Veronica
Yes.
Lake.
That's right, it was Veronica Lake
Yeah.
at the soda fountain. Was it?
Or was it Lana Turner? Call now.
Oh my god, which one was the sweater girl?
That was
Lana
Turner. Yeah. Who's
And
married
Veronica
to John.
Lake was all about her hair.
Yes.
And Lana Turner was married to Johnny Spampanato.
Yes.
And her daughter killed Johnny Spampanato. This trip through Hollywood history, Becca.
Karina Longworth. That's me.
Stop cutting me off. He's trying to ask me questions.
I was gonna say, are you working on anything in particular
I'm
now
on
that you can
hiatus
talk about?
right now.
Oh, okay.
So
Which
my
is that a
hiatus
new
just
pilot?
means no. It means my trip to Italy.
Oh.
And I just got back.
Where'd you go in Italy?
Oh God, I went everywhere. Rome, Florence, Pompeii, Cinque Terre,
Okay.
Venice.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was great.
It's a nice time of year for Cinque Terre.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
So, we have people on, like I said, we have a lot of actors on, we got musicians on. Casting people need to promote as much. Like, I was about to ask you, like, where can we find you? What are you selling? But you're not really... I mean, I guess when you're working regularly on a show, you're promoting that show.
Yeah, but no, in terms of, like, employment, no. We
Okay.
don't, like, advertise our face.
Yeah.
I do get a lot of, like, random followers, though, just because of my job.
Like on Twitter and
Yeah,
stuff? They'll just-
yeah. Or people, like, Facebook message me, like, please read me for this role.
That...
Because that's really a winning strategy.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work.
I
Don't do that, guys.
I kind of know...
But also,
this-
like, Barack Obama follows me on Twitter.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. So, I mean, I'm
Wait, what?
kind of a big deal. No, like, he legitimately does.
Does Barack Obama follow you?
No. I mean, I had Tyrese follow me for like a second.
Oh.
I got Melissa Joan Hart.
No,
she follows
sorry.
everybody.
It was Omar Epps, not Tyrese.
I think Aaron Carter follows me, too.
Wait, why is Barack Obama following
I have
you?
no idea.
He's hoping to
I
get
have
cast
no
on an
idea.
episode
You
of
can
Last
look.
Man Standing.
Yeah, exactly. No, Last Man Standing's been canceled.
I know.
Thanks, Trump.
But what are you checking out now?
He's following 629,000.
But look how many people follow him.
Well,
it's a small margin.
He's not following us, Sean, is the point.
I'm in the minority here.
Who is he following? Who are these people?
Me?
Mr. President, what is this?
Don't bust my
Sean-
bubble. I am so
But
excited
here's
about
the-
this.
You should be, because we're not, and we would be
I think he
excited.
He
was like my
follows someone
first
called
follower.
That Girl.
Yes.
But he doesn't follow you, Sean. He fucking hates you. And you voted for him twice. So
I just got followed by someone named Von Barkenberg.
there you go. This is throwing me off, but I was gonna say,
Making cinema great again. Continue.
Jen Houston, she does casting for she did for Girls and Orange is the New Black. We follow each other on Twitter, and I notice in her, like right in the front of her Twitter things, is like, do not send me messages like casting things. Like you will not get, like, don't do this.
I believe it.
Yeah, I imagine you got to do that though, because
Yeah.
otherwise, and I would also imagine. I mean, it's not like someone's gonna like DM you their headshot and you're gonna be like, "That's it, it's them."
No.
You know, it's in fact, it's probably gonna be. It's never gonna be them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, there's a certain like level of desperation when you get to that point, I think. And it lowers your credibility a bit.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we get headshots at the office all the time.
Yeah.
So even if it's not coming in my email, it somehow gets to me.
But it's not inappropriate to send headshots to the
It's
office.
not
I feel like that's.
inappropriate, but it doesn't really do much. And a lot of people send postcards, and people like casting offices don't typically do anything with those.
Do you get a lot of invites to like one-person shows and things like that?
Yeah, showcases. Yeah,
Do you go?
not usually.
Okay. It's okay.
I got a headshot once that was like just this guy's face photoshopped on like a painting of like an 1800s Civil War soldier. Like that was his legitimate headshot. There's
should
nothing else.
Face cakes. It should be a cake with your face on it, and then like on the bottom of the cake is the credits when you eat it, because you know that's getting eaten.
Yeah, but like we get food a lot.
Ah,
That's pretty common. But I haven't had a face cake. That's a new one.
okay.
That's a new one.
If I were an actor, I'd send you a face cake.
Do it. I'll take a face cake.
I'll take this.
I
think we found the episode title.
You know what? The other thing. Okay, let me ask one question, since we're talking about headshots and photos and things like this. With all these face apps now, like,
What do you mean?
you know, face app.
Like
Oh, the one that makes you
Snapchat?
look really younger,
It can make
or
you
like
look
older, or a
younger,
male.
older, reverse your gender.
Yeah, I did this.
Are you gonna
I'm
like?
a cute boy, you guys.
I believe it. Do you have you ever gotten stuff like that yet? And do you think you will?
No, I don't think so. I hope not.
But I wonder if people will be like, "Look, you could age me up. I'll look like this. I could play
God.
a girl."
Oh God!
Like, do you think-
Let's not talk about it, because let's not open up this can of worms for like
I
all the
guarantee
actors that
you,
are listening.
Within the next month, you're at least
No.
going to get that at least once. I
Or a
guarantee
Snapchat
you.
filter. Look at me with dog ears and a
yeah.
tongue. Yeah.
Oh God.
You're looking for
so
someone to play a
bad.
rabbit? I could play a rabbit. And it's yeah,
No,
with
I hope that doesn't happen. But I really, like, my goal in life has been to, like, make a coffee table book of all the crazy stuff I've either been, like, emailed or, like, sent.
Yeah.
So, maybe if that does happen, I'll
So
I'll
you
save
saving
it.
all this stuff? You're saving all the information?
Oh yeah, I saved the 1800 soldier headshot for sure.
My biggest regret is when I had a manager and I was speccing scripts. I wish that I had kept every email correspondence and recorded and transcribed every phone call, because I think just laying all that out would have been a great, like, this is what it's really like Hollywood book without even having to do anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, save everything.
Yeah.
It's funny, I used to also read scripts for the writer's store, and I was like, I cannot, like, you're not supposed to keep these, I would just get rid of them when I was done reading them. But there was one script that was so insane that I'm like, I am holding on to this forever. And, I should
still have it?
I still have it. I should actually
I never read it. I want to read this thing.
The
You told
one
me
about
it.
You should put it on.
It's about, I'm not going to tell the whole thing, but it's about Mark David Chapman, and it's fucking insane.
Okay, I'll come. You send me a postcard.
For his showcase.
For
It
the
was a one-man
showcase,
show.
yeah.
All right, show of reading a psychotic script I did not write. Well, Becca, I know you don't need to promote, but is there a place that people can find you if they want to find out more about you?
I do have a Twitter.
Yes, followed by, the president.
Followed by Barack Obama, so it's a pretty good Twitter. It's at Becca_Burgess.
Okay.
And it's BECCA.
Yep.
And-
_BURGESS.
Perfect.
There you go. I'm following it.
I will be following it.
So I'm in, me and the president are in good company here.
We're good friends.
You and Barry.
Me and Barry.
BH.
Do you ever do any casting for, like, late night talk shows? Because they got,
No.
like, I
I've
know
not done that.
They got a lot of, like, people come in just for, like, do a little skit or something like that.
Yeah, no, I have no experience with that. I have a friend who's done it, but I have not.
Well, my favorite late night talk show is Conan.
Conan.
I watch Conan constantly. I love Conan O'Brien.
I know.
I've said this before on the show. My mother loves Conan O'Brien even more than I do.
I have a bit of a crush on Conan.
As you should.
He's funny.
But here's the thing.
I know.
Conan is being sued by a comedian
Conan's a
named...
thief.
We'll get to that. Named Alex Caseberg for potential joke stealing. The claims were stolen that claims were made that it was jokes were stolen from his blog that then Conan used. It's 3 jokes in particular. One of them involved Bruce Jenner when he was becoming Caitlyn Jenner, and the joke was that there was like a road named after Bruce Jenner, and now it's like but now they've had to change it to a cul-no-sac or something like that instead of cul-de-sac.
That's good stuff.
And the jokes had very similar punchlines, different setups, very similar punchlines. There was another one about Super Bowl, another one, I can't remember what it was about. But he alleges these were stolen from my blog. Here's the problem I have with this. These jokes weren't the most sophisticated jokes that I feel like anyone could come up with this. Now, the judge saw enough, though, that this could go to let this go to trial.
Give him the chair.
Well, what's the timeline on this? Like, was it posted on the blog on like a Wednesday and then the joke came out?
Well, they must have had
Conan
there
on
must have been a
Thursday?
timeline to show that the blog post had been before when it was written, or else I don't think the judge would have let this go through.
Yeah, and I mean, these are all
So they have like evidence of that.
in a
Right.
short period of time because... when everyone's talking about Caitlyn Jenner and everyone's talking about the
Right,
Super Bowl,
like, that's
it's
a
only
very
a short moment where it's all in the zeitgeist.
Right.
So, but here's my thing. I have watched Conan and Kimmel and Letterman back then, and I remember being like, oh, they all basically just told the same version of the same joke because it's such an overcrowded late night community here.
Yeah.
There are only so many jokes that could be told about the same news
In one day.
topics.
It's like it's like a short turnaround, too.
So I'm not buying that these things were stolen, and even if they were, I'm not buying that it's like major thievery, if that makes sense. Yeah, you know what I mean? Am I being Pollyanna about Conan?
I think you're being a little too much I mean, listen, I don't know enough about this case to really weigh in on it with any sort of...
We'll know more as I guess it goes.
Yeah, but I think you're giving Conan... And also, it wouldn't be Conan himself.
It'd be his
writers, and who knows? And I don't know if they take those writers' rooms or if there's any sort of evidence. I know from back in the day when I worked in development, we had to keep very strict notes of our meetings, especially like who said what.
Who pitched what joke.
Who pitched what idea, because if it ever went to arbitration, they would have to pull those out, and we would keep, logs and logs of what was said in these meetings, and everything was tape recorded and logged as well. Just for this very, if something like this ever happened. Because if someone for the studio recommended a plot line or a character or an idea, and then the writer riffed and built on that, they couldn't come back and say that was their idea necessarily. But so I don't know what kind of evidence they have for the writer's room.
Yeah, odds are though it's like a writer who, if it was stolen. Yeah. But here's the thing. I could see us coming up with these jokes.
I would like to think we're funnier than that.
Well,
yeah.
What were you about to say, Becca?
No, I agree with you. Like, they're not super advanced jokes. Like, I feel like it makes sense that the two people thought of this.
Right. Do you watch a lot of late night television?
I do. I kind of catch it here and there. I don't watch it religiously.
Yeah, I don't like my mother DVRs Conan and watches them every day.
I watch
the next
clips.
day. I watch clips of everyone else. Conan's the one I'll watch as I'm going to bed, so I usually won't make it through the whole thing.
I still watch the daily. Like, I may not watch it during the week, but I'll catch up. But I watch every Daily Show. I really like what Trevor Noah is doing. I sort of got tired of Jon Stewart by the end of it. And I still like the tone and the approach that the Daily Show takes. And then I watch the John Oliver and Samantha Bee, which are the once-a-week deeper dives.
I don't even consider those late-night talk shows. And I know they keep saying Samantha Bee, the only woman in late-night television. Here's my problem with that. One, I wish she was every night. I probably would watch her a lot if she was every night. Two, she's on 10:30. Sorry. It's not late night. It's not late night.
I'm sorry, are your kids still up?
If I had kids, they'd be up just to prove a point on the night Samantha Bee. But Samantha Bee's great.
You'd have them there, you and Little Will with his pussy hat on, watching Samantha Bee.
Exactly. I love Samantha Bee. I love John Oliver, but I feel like they're doing such different things.
It is very different.
Well, the interesting trend now in late night is the ascendancy of Stephen Colbert and how Jimmy Fallon's starting to drop off.
Now, let me ask you this. What do you think of Fallon?
I love Jimmy Fallon.
Do you really?
I have a crush on him, too.
What do you like about Jimmy Fallon besides apparently his boyish good looks?
And it's not a looks thing. I think he's funny.
His puckish attitude.
Oh, okay, now...
You don't think he's funny?
This is fascinating because I think he is so the opposite of funny, which I guess would be not funny.
I also like how he just, giggles at the most random stuff.
See, that's what drives me crazy about
I love it.
Conflict.
So what do you think about that you respond to? Like, what is it just...
I think it's sort of like when you're watching SNL and someone breaks, it's fun. And it's sort of the same thing with him.
And he would break a lot on
SNL.
So let's take the guy who can adhere to the basic premise of the show and give him his entire hourly late night show.
I guess my thing is, I feel like, and actually a Conan writer said this and got in trouble. And
those Conan writers seem like they're a rogue bunch over there.
The Conan writer who, by the way, we saw do an amazing bit at the Improv one night.
Who screamed at me for a good 10 minutes.
Yeah.
In the name of comedy.
Yeah. But he said that, and it was clearly a knock at Fallon, he said, playing a game, playing beer pong isn't a joke. It's not like a joke.
It's deadly serious stuff.
I like the games.
See, I guess that's what, I feel like just because, we got Brad Pitt to smash an egg on his head, that's not...
I get it. I get what you're
funny
saying. I've never thought of it that way because I still laugh at what I'm watching.
I feel like I'm in the minority on this. I feel like most of America...
You're an oppressed minority.
I think most of America likes Fallon.
I think most of America likes Fallon, too.
Because it's 11:30 and you're exhausted and you're lying in bed and you don't want to think. You just want to watch some silliness. You don't, and I like Seth Meyers, but I don't, at 12:30 at night, don't want to do a 12-minute closer look on the news. You know what I want to do it? At 10 a.m. the next morning on YouTube.
Seth Meyers is a perfect example of somebody I never watch, mostly because if I'm home by 12:30, I'm asleep, and if I'm not home
Then you're going.
You're
to bed.
drunk.
I'm drunk or something. But the Seth Meyers is a perfect example of what you said about watching clips, where he's someone I will watch clips of his closer looks the next day.
The highlights.
But I never
Yeah.
sit and watch his show.
Yeah, I don't watch the show.
And if you want silliness, Conan's still the silliest. He does string dance. He's a funny guy.
I'm obsessed with his Clueless Gamer and the Jordan Schlansky bits.
Those are amazing.
Jordan?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Is this something to do with shoes?
No.
No,
He's
it's like his producer or
It's
something.
one of the producers on the show, and he's so, like,
He's an odd
pretentious and strange, and you would find this guy funny.
Okay.
And Conan just brings him on and, like, shits on him.
Yeah.
And it's really...
Well, he could do that because he's very tall.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Before we move on, the one thing of Conan that I've been loving is doing them less and less, but the phone calls between Barack Obama and Donald Trump.
one. I haven't seen those yet.
Oh, they are amazing. It started during the campaign. No, during the after he got elected, and it was Trump would call Obama asking for advice. It's fantastic. And the impersonation of Obama, I don't know who is doing it, but it's so dead on that I'm half convinced that your Twitter buddy is actually
I
Conan.
Who it is?
actually got
Dana
hooked
Carvey.
up to them.
I mean, you say that like a joke, but I mean, he's a great impressionist, so he very well could be. Okay, moving on. Have you ever worn a romper?
Rompers do not look good on me, so that's a no.
Fair enough. But I think the odder question would be, Sean, have you ever worn a romper?
No, I don't believe I have. Now explain for the folks at home who may not know what a romper is.
It's like a one-piece outfit, and it's kind of like a shirt-shorts combo all
So
together.
is it like what men in the 20s would wear for their undergarments, like instead of t-shirt and shorts?
Yeah, I guess
It's
so.
like long,
Yeah.
it's like long underwear.
Sort of overalls with more fabric.
Okay.
Well, there is a new trend of rompers for men. Men are wearing rompers.
Do you know what they're calling them? Rompims.
Are they?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck you.
Romper.
Oh,
Wow,
Yeah.
that's good.
oh, shit. I didn't even put her together.
Yeah.
But that's not what it was meant to be.
Oh, it was supposed to be history, not herstory? Yeah.
It's always like,
Oh my god.
you know what? One day my mind was blown by my friend Chris Cernecca pointed out that Arby's is RB for roast beef, because that's what they
Yeah.
sell. And I'm like, what? That's why it's called Arby's?
Or Rebecca Burgess.
Rebecca Burgess.
Or Rebecca Black.
Or Rebecca Black.
All the great Arby's.
Yeah.
Roast beef, Rebecca Burgess, and Rebecca Black. Those are your...
And Rihanna Berkowitz.
So anyway, let's get back to the rompers here. Here's the thing. I am not a man of fashion. I feel you should be able to wear whatever you want.
Your Honor.
However, I feel like this is inherently a stupid look. I think these men look ridiculous. They look like rejects from a 70s sci-fi film like Logan's Run or Zardoz.
I don't hate them.
You don't hate them.
I mean, I'm not for them, but I've also seen way worse.
Well, okay, think of the men in your life, fathers, brothers, nephews, anyone. Now, would you buy them as like a Christmas present or
No.
romp him?
No.
Okay, let me ask you this.
But wait, I also saw something on, I think it was Facebook the other day, and it was like a meme, and it was like Steve Irwin was wearing rompers back in the 90s.
And look how he ended up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Touche.
More radio to the chest.
Stingray.
Stingray. Yeah.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Let me take what Sean said. So if you had shown up tonight and me and Sean were both wearing rompers, would you have been a little like concerned about what you got into here?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, yeah, exactly. Because
Again, not for them, but I don't find myself disgusted by them.
Okay.
now, Sean, you brought up a good point about fashion trends throughout the century.
Yeah, and this is just another, fashion is so subjective and it shifts. I mean, men used to wear wigs and makeup and breeches and hose and tights and high heels, and that was like a manly man. If anyone's watched Harlots on Hulu, like men used to dress like women, and that's just how. And lots of satin and silks, and so fashion's changed. So what's to say that we're in 100 years when our great grandkids are sitting around in their rompims and hollow shirts, they're not going to look back like, look at those idiots in their jeans and shirts. I don't know. And I'm convinced.
But
I'm saying,
it's coming.
I am shocked. Going back, speaking to fashion, I am so shocked that makeup for men has not become a thing yet, and that the cosmetic industry has straight up neglected 50% of the population. That they haven't tried to sell, just a little bit of, yeah, you get like the guy liner sometimes. Control. Yeah, a little bit of rouge, little concealer. Why not? Like
maybe we should take it back. Maybe we should start wearing.
And we really believe
celebs
in
do it.
Yeah, but they for like photo shoots and stuff.
Yeah. That's why they look so good.
Yeah,
maybe we should put
a little makeup on.
Maybe you and me should go full like Barry Lyndon, and we should have like I could see you doing this if it became if somehow the world.
You
turned
could see me. What I would do? I would do the thing where like my eyes would be painted over. Like I'd have like a face mask.
Oh Jesus, that wouldn't be
like
creepy.
the eyeballs painted on your eyelids.
No. Like when the way girls will sometimes get like a rectangle of color painted over their eyes.
That's just in like couture. I feel like that's like Vogue.
I could see Sean will be couture.
I will be. Okay. I'm fashion forward.
Okay, now I'm gonna say this about using me's fashion here, Sean. Yeah. I don't think we're the most fashionable men.
I clean up well.
But I also think that the fashions that we have are fashion that have like been pretty solid since like I don't know, the 50s. Like you just wear and like, no, hear me out here. I mean, I'm a t-shirt and jean guy. Yeah. I'm always wearing t-shirts and jeans.
You're a goddamn James Dean over here.
I'm not like that, but I mean, t-shirts and jeans like have always been pretty just standard. You wear a button-down shirt and some slacks. Yeah. That's pretty normal. That hasn't really advanced to anything crazy in the last 50 years.
Yes, but this is some sort of nanofiber. But I can get blood out of this like that.
But that's different. The principles of what...
Yeah, it's true. And, in that way, guys do have it a lot easier. But still, like, living in Los Angeles, people wear just interesting stuff. I'm constantly noticing what guys are wearing, and I'm looking like, should I be doing more of that? Like... how come I don't own, a pair of boots and capris like that? Yeah.
Becca, have you ever succumbed to a fashion, like a trend that then you were like, oh, what was I doing?
When I was a kid, I don't think that, like...
But also, you're kind of things are out of your control when you're a kid, too.
Did you? Nah, but you're like, your parents are still... I want this. I want this stupid thing.
Yeah, my mom let me get bangs. That was pretty bad. And, like, those, like, big platform, like, chunky shoes of the 90s.
Okay.
Thought those were so cool.
See, I think women's fashion does change a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not embarrassed. I was always, like, t-shirt and jeans guy, but I remember, like, when we were kids, like, I remember we got to get the pump shoes. I didn't play basketball, but I got to get the pump shoes. Or the hypercolor t-shirt. I had the hypercolor t-shirt.
So my pump shoes...
I don't know what this is.
I was not a sporty... I was not a sporty boy, so I ended up with the pump shoes that were on sale, which was the tennis pumps. So the pump was a green tennis ball. Ask me if I've ever held a tennis racket in my entire life.
The hypercolor shirts were a shirt that would change color.
In water,
like
or
when
heat?
So when you'd sweat in the shirt,
you look like a tie-dyed monster.
But I mean, like any shirt changes color when you sweat.
This was a big thing when I was a kid. The hypercolor T-shirt.
When was this?
It's early '90s.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a big thing. You don't remember hypercolor shirts?
Here's the thing. Also, I went to private school where I had a uniform every day, so I was insulated from a lot of fashion because we all wore the same thing every day. So I didn't need to know how to dress or own clothing, or there wasn't any social pressure.
I just chose not to know how to dress.
Right, but I wasn't subjected either to like the social pressures of going to school every day and having to have outfits, and everyone just wore the same goddamn thing every day, which made my life much easier.
Did you ever, either of you, have frosted tips?
No.
No?
Oh. I've had pretty much the same haircut my entire life.
You frost your tips and I'll start wearing makeup.
Please.
Oh my God, maybe we have to do that.
Please.
I keep thinking I should do something extreme to my hair one day because.
But the problem is it's gotta be something that's reversible.
Get like hair chalk or something.
Hair chalk?
Yeah, have you never heard of
What
this?
the fuck is that?
Yeah, well, they have like they're usually like crazy colors, like purple and blue, and you just like
But it
rub
washes
into
out.
your hair. Yeah,
Okay, that sounds good.
and it would be great for you because you don't have long hair, whereas for me, it would get all over my clothes.
I would love to go into the office
For your
with
birthday, I
blue
think you
hair.
got a hair chalk
Yeah, I
it
think
up.
you get it like Urban Outfitters or like probably Amazon.
Oh,
I think for your birthday, you got a hair chalk it up.
Hair chalk.
Yes, this is not a bad idea.
No, it's a terrible idea.
No, it's great. Let's encourage
All right, let's do this for your
But I
birthday.
mean, it changes. It's not
What color
permanent.
are you gonna choose?
Blue.
Awesome.
I like it.
Like, how long
And then
would
you'll
it
paint
be?
a David Bowie Thunderbolt on your face.
How long before it would...
It'll wash out like that. Like maybe you have to like shampoo twice or whatever, but it should wash out that night.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We should do this for my birthday.
Because it's fun.
Your
There's no
hair's also
commitment.
dark, so it's not going to hold the pigment like someone who is blonde would.
Right before my birthday party, we're going to hair chalk the fuck
You know what's
out
gonna
of
happen?
me.
You're gonna get drunk. You're gonna get sweaty. You're gonna be dripping blue and red down your face. You're gonna be
That's
hugging
okay.
Would
people.
that happen?
Maybe.
You're gonna be hugging people. Everyone's gonna have like stains on their
I
shirts.
knew a guy who...
There's
for-
also like hairspray that changes the color too.
I want this chalk.
You want the chalk?
I want
Okay.
the chalky chalk. I had a friend, my friend JT. He one year for Halloween went as Milhouse from The Simpsons, and he wore a blue wig and he had glasses, but he painted his whole self
Yeah.
yellow. And we're at a Halloween party, and you saw just from like where he leaned up against the wall, where he like
Everything's
like
coming up
people were,
Milhouse.
Like, yeah, it was pretty good, but it looked great. Well. Speaking of network television shows like The Simpsons,
Oh, segue.
last week in New York City, the television networks held their upfront presentations, whereas I don't have to tell you, Becca, they announce what shows are renewed, what new shows are coming out. The networks renewed literally everything I watch. Anything I watch got renewed. Apparently, you want your show to come back, make sure I'm a viewer, because it's going to come back forever. You'd think this would be a good thing, you know, because I'd be like all excited. All my old friends are going to return in the fall. No, because inevitably, there will be new shows that I am interested in watching. But I won't have the fucking time to watch them because they renewed every fucking show I already watch. There needs to be some attrition each year to clear out the underbrush, making room for new growth. For example, New Girl. I love New Girl. It's my favorite network comedy. It's hilarious. Jake Johnson, who's funnier than the character Nick Miller on TV? But you know what? New Girl, you could have ended last year. Everyone would have been fine with it. Everyone was satisfied. But no, you're coming back for one more year of 22 episodes that now I have to deal with. I love you, but I have no time for you. And that is why you, television networks, are this week's enemy of the podcast. Go fuck yourselves. I don't have time for your shows anymore. We need the British model of 6 episodes and done forever. So, Becca,
Yes.
did all your favorite shows get renewed? I know one you worked on.
Yeah, my jobs did. Yeah, I think so. Most of the stuff I watch now is not network. It's like cable.
But even the
Same.
cable shows.
like premium cable, yeah.
But the cable shows, they do go shorter seasons. It is a little bit of a more digestible model.
yeah,
I
it's
think.
like 13 max.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch very few network shows
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't watch many, if any. I watch like
Well, Simpsons-
reality network, but that's
Nah,
not
I
the
watch
same.
like Simpsons, Family Guy, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, New Girl. I think that's all I watch on network.
I picked up 2 network shows last year.
iZombie.
I do. That's a network show. Yeah, I
Yeah.
watch iZombie.
I think the only new one I watch is This Is Us.
Well, This Is Us.
Which
I
has-
watched that. That's the one that that got thrown to the
2.
rotation. And I watch the other one I picked up last year was Designated Survivor.
Oh, I stopped that after a few episodes. Like, I don't have
It's
time for
but
it.
you know that's the equivalent of my. I'm not super invested, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
But see, that's an easy
that
one for you to drop.
What was that?
That's an easy one for you to drop.
Not at this point.
Now he's all in.
It's
Now
too
I'm all in,
invested.
too invested.
That's how I feel with Grey's Anatomy. It's like I've spent like what 12, 13 years of my life with this fucking show. Like I'm just ready for it to be done, so I don't have to keep watching.
Me and
But
Sean.
you've only spent a year with Designated Survivor.
Yeah.
Flash forward to 11 years
I
later.
Yeah.
very rarely give up
Then he's
shows.
President Sutherland's on his 7th
The
term.
only show in the last 2 years I gave up on was like I did not keep watching Gotham because it was fucking terrible. And
Did you watch Sleepy Hollow?
No.
Okay.
That's gone. That's
I'm
canceled.
gonna give up on the Fear the Walking Dead. I already deleted it from my DVR.
That's it. That's the death knell.
That
So
is a death knell.
Well, like shows that could have
first-
ended. We were talking about this before you
But
got
I mean,
here.
I guess by the way, though, I guess the caveat to this is like New Girl is still a very funny show.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Like, if your show is shit, but if I've gone like years, then I'm gonna stick with you. But if your show is shit and I've watched you for a year, I might not come back.
Right.
Well, we were saying like The Americans is going to be coming back for one more season, but I mean the season's been good, but they could have conceivably found a way to have wrapped the show up this season. I think I don't know how critical this whole season has been.
I just want everything to end.
Yeah.
And I want to I also
just want to watch the television burn.
I mean, just this past weekend, I picked up the new season of Kimmy Schmidt. I had to start watching.
See, I've got to the point now where I'm letting things. I'm not going to allow myself to be a
Titus.
slave to the. So I've decided I'm not. I'm not going to allow myself to be a slave to this release model where I'm still kind of meandering my way through Master of None, and I'll finish it when I finish it. And Kimmy Schmidt, I haven't even started yet, and I'll get to it when I get to it. And the new season of Fargo, I'm going to wait till Better Call Saul and The Americans are done, and then I'll join up with Fargo.
My problem is, and I think I have a legitimate problem.
Yeah.
Like I think if I went to a therapist,
Yeah.
they'd say I have like an addiction or something, because
Fuck that! You're not going to a therapist. Those people are all quacks.
my problem is that I can put on like. Let's say I'd been busy the weekend Master of None came out. I probably could have been like, I could hold off for a week or two.
Yeah.
But the problem is, the second I watch one, it's like Pringles. You can't stop with just one. You got to keep popping them. And that's the thing. Like, knowing they're all available, I want to get through it. Equal parts to get it over with, and equal parts because I kind of love it, and I want to be part of the conversation. I want to know I'm completely caught up. And yeah, this weekend, I was able to have some conversations with people about Master of None because we had all finished it.
So you feel like it's the Netflix curse, where like everything's all episodes are released at once. That's what gets you?
Last week, we were talking about this on the show. We were talking about binge watching. And I'm against the binge watching model.
I'm a huge advocate for it.
I'm
really good at it.
If I ran a show, I mean, obviously I'd be thrilled to run a show on Netflix and I'd do whatever they wanted. But if I had my way, I would release one episode a week.
Well, the way Hulu
From
does
like
it.
a marketing standpoint.
Yeah, well, and
Gotcha.
I brought up the point last week of The Crown as an example, which I have not watched, and I'm sure
It's
I would
good.
like. And the only reason I'm not watching is because I'm already underwater.
Right.
Twin Peaks came back this week, for fuck's sake. I didn't know I'd have to deal with watching shows that ended 25 years ago. You know, it's like they're really getting you here. But the
new season of Fuller House is coming soon.
Oh god, that show's shit.
It's actually not bad.
what are you talking
What?
about?
It's horrible.
You
What
watch
it is? I've dipped into it.
Oh,
If you
this is your
approach
secret
it,
shame.
if you approach it, to be fair, I've only seen like 3 episodes. It's not like I've binge watched it.
Yeah,
if you
no,
approach it
it's
just
not
like Full House and with that hokey, cheesy sitcom model, it's like the feel good. It's like I'm being wrapped in a TGIF blanket all over again.
I feel like this is the biggest reveal we've had of you.
I've
on
seen
this
3
podcast.
episodes. It's not like I've seen the whole season. I wanted to check it out, and it was comforting. But after like 3, I'm like, all right, I'm good with this.
Where was I going with all this? So you went to school with Titus?
Well,
From Kimmy
he's a
Schmidt?
little bit older than me, but we went to the same high school together. Same high school. I was gonna play with him when I was a kid.
Hometown hero.
Hometown here,
boy
and we have the
makes
same
good.
last name.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
shit!
Yeah, it's great.
That's why I kept thinking Meredith Burgess, but I'm like, there's another Burgess out there. I can't.
Burgess
Titus.
Meredith.
Whatever. It's the same thing.
Are there any shows that ended like before their time that you loved, like you wish, like, oh, if they had? Because I think to me the
Deadwood.
big thing is being able to wrap up yourself. I remember as a kid being very upset by the final episode of Alf. Because Alf got canceled, and in the last episode, like, the spaceship was coming, but like the government was gonna get him. It's like, what's gonna happen? And it just never came back. And I was a kid, and that broke my heart.
I don't think I've had many where it hasn't been wrapped up and it's been canceled. I was obsessed with One Tree Hill as a kid, but that like wrapped up nicely. Like they knew they were ending. And then what was that show? There was some show like on NBC a few years back, and it was about like dinosaurs, and they were on like an island trying to like they went back in time.
Lost?
No, not Lost.
There were no dinosaurs on
It-
Lost.
It only
Wait,
went like
were there?
one season, and a lot of people hated it. But I'm obsessed with dinosaurs. so...
Land Before Time?
No, it was like Terra Nova or something.
Oh,
like
yes,
that.
it was
Is
like
that
it was a Fox show.
It was Fox.
It was Fox. It was like Steven Spielberg Presents, and they had like dinosaurs with
But
robot helmets.
it cost like, I don't know, $1 million something, like an episode.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're
to
talking about,
make.
yeah.
Something crazy.
It's called Dinosaur Island.
Yeah.
That sounds like a show that would have run on 30 Rock's NBC.
I would watch.
Jack Donaghy
I would
show.
write for Dinosaur Island. I know what I was going to say with The Crown. Because the Netflix model, I feel like that's a show that, because it didn't last for 10 weeks, it basically lasted for one weekend. Like, it fell out of the zeitgeist. And it's going to get a ton of Emmy nominations, but as I was saying last week, I don't think it's going to win because people aren't thinking and talking about it. Whereas
Gotcha.
This Is Us had 22 weeks or more where people were talking about it. And I mean, we haven't even had the Emmy nominations. Sean, over the summer, we're going to do our Emmy show.
Woohoo.
I'm already saying now, This Is Us is going to win Best Drama.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's already been a while since the show's been on, and it's not top of mind.
Well, but it'll be coming back. They'll be
Nice.
getting ready for it to come back. Also, I think it's going to be the first time in a few years they have a network show they could give it to.
Yeah.
That people... And it's loved by, like, all age ranges,
I think you
all
see Handmaid's
groups.
Tale make a big push.
I think it's hurt by... Everybody loves This Is Us, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's got a
Yeah.
lot of... It got renewed for 2 more seasons, too.
All right, well, Milo's got to work.
Love Milo.
Those Mandy Moore, they all got to work. So we always like to end the show on we do like a weird news. We always like to end on weird news.
Like a man going to the drive-thru on a horse fell into a sinkhole, like things like that.
Oh, okay.
However, sometimes, and I don't know why we set you so up for weird news. Sometimes we have to change it to sad news.
Oh.
And usually it's when somebody dies. And Roger Moore died.
No.
Roger Moore,
Who's known for founding the Diddy Moore soup in a can empire.
Roger Moore, the Sir Roger Moore, James Bond. He played James Bond more than anyone. He was in the most Bond films. He was unless we count some weirdo like
Casino Royale.
Barry Nelson pre-Connery Casino Royale. He was the third actor to play him because Lazenby snuck in there to play.
Watch
one
Lazenby
movie.
outlast all these fuckers. He's
Even outlast Daniel
Yes,
Craig.
Daniel Craig's gonna die in some weird like hydrofoil
But
accident.
Roger Moore, what struck me, I'm a big James Bond fan. I don't know how you feel about James Bond.
Not my favorite.
But he's our first James Bond to die.
Yeah?
Which is kind of sad. Somebody, Jeff May, former guest of the show, tweeted that James Bond should live forever.
Oh, you saw what I tweeted this morning.
Oh, well, you say what you tweeted. I saw
It
what
was
you said.
about
Connery.
Connery like absorbed his life force or something.
Yeah,
I don't
now
remember
Sean
what-
Connery lives another 5 years.
Yeah, lives another
supposedly.
5 years.
But Roger Moore, for me, he was kind of the first Bond I ever saw. Probably because his films when I was a kid, had most recently come out. And I think my father thought that the Roger Moore films were a little lighter, a little funnier, and that Little Will would respond to them better than he would, like, the ones from the 60s. And he was right, because they are. I mean, Roger Moore brought some humor and lightness to Bond, which we have really gotten away from in the Daniel Craig years. And I would love to find a balance again, where it's not as moody as Daniel Craig, but maybe not as light as Roger Moore. I'd like to find a middle
It's kind
ground.
of what like the Kingsman is a little bit. It's more violent, it's more sexual, but it's a little lighter, it's a little sillier. I mean, the Bourne movies are not light at all, but the Kingsman seems like it's kind of moving into that space a little bit.
My Bond to have a little bit, like, and maybe that's because my first Bond was kind of a funnier Bond.
Yeah. Also,
And
a Bond in his 50s.
Yeah, he was also the oldest when he took on the role.
Yeah.
And but look, some of those Roger Moore movies are ridiculous. Like Moonraker is not good. He goes to outer space. James Bond is shooting a laser gun. It was clear
Just
their
wait till
answer was-
Fast 9 comes out.
Yeah, well, that's different.
God.
But they, that was them trying to compete with Star Wars.
Right.
And Octopussy, I really don't like, because it ends with, like, I don't know, there's something about a Fabergé egg. It's been a while since I've seen it. But I'll tell you what, I think Live and Let Die is legit good. I think...
View to a Kill, that was his last one, right?
View to a Kill is the last one. I don't think it's bad. I mean, he's showing his age in it.
Yeah.
And it's weird that he sleeps with Grace Jones, but still. And, but The Spy Who Loved Me, I think is like top 5 Bond films overall. Maybe even, it might even be like my 3rd favorite one.
After License to Kill?
Yeah, exactly. When Dalton dies, we can talk about Dalton.
I've never seen any of the Dalton Bond movies.
Dalton is a misunderstood Bond.
I've never seen any of those movies.
His movies feel very 80s, which I think is a problem. But he was doing the Daniel Craig thing before it was popular.
So does that mean, so when Daniel Craig steps down, so you went like Dalton, it's like this seesaw of Bond, so you think the next Bond they get should be someone that's a little lighter and a little bit...
I think that should be.
Yeah.
Somebody could be like more of a lighthearted quip here and there.
Like
but
a
maybe
Colin
times
Firth?
have changed. What don't you... he's too old.
Yeah, he is too old.
What don't you like about the
I don't
Bond
like-
movies?
I'm not super into action movies. I'm more into like dark dramas.
Okay.
I'm not a big comedy watcher either, so it's I'm very
Okay.
I'm
So
a
it's-
niche.
Yeah. Would that... Would
So
you...
it's just like Manchester by the Sea on loop.
No, I also wouldn't say that I'm super into slice of life films, but I did love Manchester by the Sea.
No, let me ask you this. This is a question I didn't ask in the interview. Like, if you could cast for, like, any kind of show, then...
Drama,
Yeah.
yeah. Like I love like Game of Thrones is probably as like sci-fi as I get, but I love stuff like Breaking Bad, House of Cards.
So something with a real, like, anti-hero and kind of thing.
Yeah, like my favorite movie is Black Swan. Like I err towards more like dark drama.
We got to talk about the poster for that new Darren Aronofsky movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, I haven't
not
seen
now.
it yet.
It's,
But,
I'll show you
anyway,
Okay.
Sean, I just want to think about Roger Moore. Clearly, this is a Bond who meant something to me. Do you have any feelings about Roger Moore?
No, I've seen like one of his. I've seen like The Man with the Golden Gun. I have like a huge gap in my Bond knowledge, which is Roger Moore and Timothy Dalton. I've seen all the Pierce Brosnans, all the Daniel Craigs, and all the Sean Connerys and Lazenby, and I haven't seen like any of the Roger Moore Bonds.
If you-
Because they all struck me as everything, like every clip I saw them, they just looked silly and ridiculous and goofy, and I was like, eh.
If you honestly, if you're gonna give one a look,
Yeah.
and look, they are a little goofier. But if you want to give one a look, The Spy Who Loved Me
That's
is
what I've heard.
really worth.
So maybe
a look.
this weekend I'll check it out.
Yeah, it had like a fun villain. It had it was one of the few times that the Bond girl was more than just like an object.
Oh.
You know, she was like a legit.
So it
character.
does not have James Bond strapped to a chair with no bottom getting his nuts whacked by a wet rope.
No, it does
Okay.
not. But that's a great film.
Yeah.
Becca,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
One more time, tell the people where they can find you on Twitter.
It's at Becca_Burgess.
Excellent.
Or you can just scroll through
And you'll be
Obama's followers and
clapbacking.
eventually
Yeah.
get to me.
At number 44. Yeah.
Wait, what? Oh,
You'll
yeah.
be, yeah, you'll be. Yeah. You can find me on all forms of social media at the Sean David. So do that.
You can follow me on Twitter at The Real Will Link. June 11th, I'm going to be performing at the Junk Show at the Copper Still. That's a Sunday night at 8 p.m.
Ooh, ooh.
I'm not sure which story I'm going to perform.
But just show up anyway, people.
I'm trying to choose between the S&M Club or the One Night Stand story. And also, Orphan Black is coming back.
It is. It was a teaser released today?
A trailer was released, yeah. Looks good. They're keeping us in the dark on a lot of things. Me and Megan Salinas are going to be doing some form of a show, probably a YouTube thing. So keep an eye out for that, where we recap one of the best shows on television and the best actor on all of television.
Oh my gosh.
Tatiana Maslany.
I'm obsessed.
Are you?
I have not caught up on Orphan Black, but she is so good.
It's kind of disgusting.
And I was so mad that it took her so long to get any kind of award. Like,
But the fact that she took the big one, like that it
Yeah,
actually broke
finally.
through for a tiny sci-fi show on BBC America is like a big deal.
yeah,
You know?
she's amazing.
Cast her in things.
I want to.
On the show next week, we're taking a break again. I know we just took a break. We're taking another break.
It's summer, people. Come on.
It's not quite summer.
It's summer.
I guess it will be.
Has there been a
summer.
solstice yet, or an equinox, or a moon thing?
It's fucking hot. It's summer.
Yeah. It's fucking hot. You never guessed.
Sean, you're
I will be
leaving town.
I will be leaving town. I'm not telling you where I'm going, but I'll be out of town for a week.
He'll be out of town, and it just so happens the week falls like midweek to midweek.
Yeah.
Totally fucking up our schedule.
I'm a
here.
Wednesday to Wednesday kind of guy.
Hey, when I'm taking my trip in September, just note,
Hey, I got Will Stegman. I got Wills. I'm rolling deep in Wills.
Oh shit! It just occurred to me. I am going to be out of town for my trip when the Emmys are on.
Uh-oh. I actually noticed that.
I didn't think about that.
Uh-huh.
I guess.
You'll be waking up at 2 a.m.
Will I wake up at 2 a.m. to watch the Emmys? Knowing me, yes.
When I was living abroad for a year, I was up at 1:30 in the morning to watch the Oscars.
If it was the Oscars, there'd be no question. I probably would have waited to take my.
But here's the question: will they even be broadcasting the Emmys? You're gonna have to find some sort of.
Do they broadcast the Emmys in
I think
London?
You need to start finding out. Do your research. There's got to be some America
There's got to
Town
be
bar.
a lot. Well,
Yeah, be like.
I think there's got to be a live stream.
Yankee Donald's Good Time American Hamburger Bar. That's where you'll be watching it.
I will go to that hamburger bar and have a good time watching the Emmys.
Drinking Coors Light on tap.
There's at least some sort of like illegal streaming service.
Yeah, Bob will know how to show. We'll get you all
We
set
will
up.
figure this out. And then are the Emmys the first? I don't know why we're doing this on air.
No, this is good.
The
This is people like this.
The Emmys. The show's over anyway. Most people have turned it off.
No, they don't turn it off till they start hearing the Muzurgalski music. They just keep listening it.
So is it the first weekend I'm there or the second weekend?
The Emmys are on.
Little BTS.
I don't
planning.
have this. I don't have 2017's yet on my calendar. Sorry.
You know what you should do?
What?
I'm dead serious. You should have Stephen Brandon on, and you and him should break it down.
All right.
The first Will Sean podcast without Will. And maybe what I'll do is I'll send you like a list of like a prepared speech that you could read for me.
September 17th, 2017.
I'll be gone a whole other week after that.
I like this idea. We'll have prepared statements.
What I will do is I will send an email to you about my thoughts on the winners and losers, and you can read them on the
this would
show,
be a good
and you and
episode.
Stephen Brandon. I swear to God, that's what we're going to do.
All right.
So
good.
the podcast will go on. When I go on vacation, the podcast goes on.
I'm glad that we're making plans for 4 months hence while recording. And on that note, Becca, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for the Will Sean podcast, I'm Sean David.
I'm Will Link.
And we'll see you September 17th.